I've heard you say in a previous interview that you can't control what becomes a hit, but you can build a body of work that your heroes can be proud of. And that saying just really stuck with me because it has this like long-term growth mindset about it. But it also helped me understand like why you were able to turn down that $1 million and bet on you in the long term. So I wonder if you could just maybe talk a little bit about how you manage that, because there still must be, I mean, you've got a new album out now, Free Will and Women, released on vinyl, October 21st. And, so, there's still like, how do you continue? Because I imagine it must be a lifelong journey to resist the desire to just go out and get a hit and stay true to who you are as an artist in the long term.
Well, if you could just go out and get a hit, I think that would be tempting, but it really is impossible. And nothing's worse than compromising and selling out to just get a hit and then it not working either. And now you just feel like a piece of crap. And you sold out and you didn't get a hit. Or God forbid it works out and you do get a hit and you just feel like a liar. I mean, that is no fun. And now you have to uphold a lie of something that felt inauthentic, and then you got to figure out how to do it again. Terrible for your health. The reason I was able to turn down the bonus for me was I was just starting to learn how to make better choices that were making me happier. And all of a sudden there was this bidding war over me. It was accidental. I wasn't trying to get discovered. I just started singing every Thursday night in a coffee shop and wanting to share this, for me, what was medicine, and wanting to be honest. I was so lonely. When you move out at 15, you do it because being alone is safer than being around family. The reason I did well as a homeless kid is because I was willing to be by myself as a homeless kid and not hang out with the other homeless kids because they'd given up hope. And they were doing drugs and they were doing things that I thought would lead to them never getting out. So I had to go be alone, but I liked being alone. It was my safety. Being connected, very uncomfortable for somebody like me. And so I was very lonely. And I realized it's because I only told the truth in a little notebook nobody read. And that I had to risk to get the connection, right? It's sad when our coping mechanisms, right? At first they keep us safe. God bless our coping mechanisms. It's some brilliant part of us that figured out how to survive and just love them. But when they stop you from having connection, human connection, you start getting in more pain than whatever you were trying to protect yourself from. And so I had to look at that, when I was 18 going, are my coping mechanisms? I didn't know the word, but is my isolating keeping me safe, or is it actually starving me to death? And I felt like it was starving me to death. And so I had to try and build again strategies of how am I going to connect to humans in a way that feels safe. Singing felt safe, even though it felt really vulnerable. And so I just decided to be honest. And I was singing these blatant, crazy emotional songs. And then I was like, is anybody left in the room? And, they came up to me afterwards and were like, I didn't know anybody else felt that way. And I was like, me neither. And I had real connection based on authenticity, based on my flaws. And that felt really good. So when I got discovered, I was like, okay, I just started getting happy. Authenticity is the key to freaking life. Vulnerability is the key to freedom. Is anybody famous and authentic? Didn't look like it. Not many. And then God forbid, I knew the pressure that fame would exert on me, and I had bad body image issues. I had a lot of anxiety. I was like, yeah, it just doesn't look like a remedy to succeed. So maybe I should just pass it up. Like, I don't want to get famous more than I want to get happy. And so I really puzzled it. And I was on the beach, I remember, and I made a decision, and I was like, I need North Stars to navigate by. Otherwise I'll lose my way in a career. And so I made I called them my North Star decisions. Number one was that my number one goal in life was to be a happy, whole human, not a human full of holes. And my number two decision was that I wanted to be an artist more than I wanted to be famous. And so those began to be my guiding principles that I made every single decision based on. And so that meant I had to have a strategy I was accountable to for each of those things. So with the record contract, I had read a book about how the music business works and how advances work and royalties and back ends. And so I realized that the $1 million advance was basically a loan against sales. So it meant I had to sell. I just did the math. ton of records to ever earn back this $1 million I borrowed. And it meant that I could be in jeopardy of being dropped from a label if I didn't earn it back within a certain period of time. So basically, it was just a bounty on my head. And I was anti-pressure, right? I wanted things that took pressure off of me. I didn't want things that put pressure on me. And so I knew I was going to make a folk album at the height of grunge. I was pretty practical about it. I didn't think that the bidding war meant I was God's gift to music. I think it just meant a lot of white men got competitive in a bidding war and got into winning. Didn't mean I was guaranteed to succeed. And so I took off the pressure on the front end because I'm agricultural. You know, I come from nature, and like, you can't leverage a pear before you even put a seed in the ground. Like, you have to first get a seed, which meant I didn't even have a seed yet. I didn't even have a record. I didn't even have a thing. And then it had to grow roots once I planted it. And I had to make sure it got planted in an environment where it could thrive. Then I had to make sure to water it and give it enough time, because nature is slow and growth is slow and things don't happen overnight, especially nothing long-term and sustainable. Like, I wanted to be hardwood. I didn't want to be something quick that just fell over the second it grew. And so that all just had to be developed into strategies. And that meant turning down the money, I had rent paid. You know, they gave me a little apartment and I got my rent paid and got off the street, gave my mom and my brother a place to live. And then I took the biggest back end anybody had ever been given. And so I did take that leverage of the bidding war and turned it into the biggest back end, which just meant I could bet on myself. And it meant that I could fail. I wouldn't have to pay the money back. I wouldn't get dropped from the label if the first album wasn't successful. And it just continually, those North Star decisions caused me to navigate, you know, every decision I made. Like, after my second album, I quit for 2 years. The word mental health break didn't exist. People were just calling me washed up, a has-been, couldn't handle the pressure. When really, to me, it was a very empowered decision of saying, I'm unwilling to have a psychological breakdown. I'm just unwilling. I'm not going to do it. And I'm at a level now where I'm so uncomfortable with the amount of fame I have that I don't know how to psychologically digest what has happened to me. And so I was willing to quit. And then again, create a strategy of, if I do want to make music, how do I do it without it making me want to kill myself? For me, that meant being less famous. It meant taking years between albums. It meant living with the quote unquote shame of people telling me I was washed up or didn't have a hit, because I knew it was making me happier.